Two dads and a Chaz putting trophies on the wall. Two dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Not exactly qualified, but answers the call. Two dads and a Chaz talking Green Bay Packers football. We gonna break it all down, probably leave out some facts. We gonna make some statements that we'll likely regret. Mostly gossip and rumors made straight off the top. So crank up the air conditioning, cause it's bound to get hot. Two dads and a Chaz, you know we live it and we live it right. Two dads and a Chaz, we gonna break down football for you tonight. Besides some rings and putting trophies on the wall. Trophies, y'all. Two dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.
Welcome to Two Dads and a Chaz podcast, the Green Bay Packer pod with the dad bod. However, this podcast is not for kids as we use naughty language. So if you stumbled on here by accident, kids, remember, earmuffs. But if you've got cheese in your veins, beer on your breath, and Packers in your heart, welcome home, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host with the most, Chaz, a.k.a. the Wisco Kid, who sings like an angel and dances like the devil. But now it's time to introduce the dads. Here we go, boys. This dad is never far from a coronary, but also holds the record for cheesing up on D. He's known as the Dan Patrick of Two Dads and a Chaz, the Duke of Dane County, the dubiest of brothers. Let's hear it for T-Bone.
Thank you, Chaz. It has been an amazing experience sharing this Packers season with all of you, processing it, and I am just excited to close it out with some of the greatest people I know. Talking about the greatest team in the NFL who did not get it done this year.
We will get into that soon enough, my friends. This guy has been featured in over 300 professional and amateur adult films with a career spanning over 2.5 decades. Having been mentored by the one and only Ron Jeremy, this dad is known for one thing and one thing only: laying pipe with his gargantuan dong. Let's hear it for old long dong himself. Give it up for Ty.
It's a difficult intro to follow, bro. Chaz, Packers fans worldwide, special esteemed guests. We have a show for you tonight. It is off the chain. We are divulging everything we thought of this whole season tonight, and it's going to get wild, guys.
You hear that bass voice, ladies? You know he's carrying a cannon. This dad was the stunt double for Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. He's never seen The Godfather, and his favorite actor is Adam Sandler. You heard it, Adam Sandler. But we're not going to hold that against him, because without him, it'd just be Dad and a Chaz podcast. Give it up for the porcelain prince, Aaron Mayhew, a.k.a. Nigel Flerman.
Chaz, thank you as always. Gentlemen, it's been a roller coaster of emotions over at my house. A lot of anger, a lot of frustration, but I found that after I smashed a couple of TVs, burned my poncho, and then went into work and fired the first 3 people that I saw, like I started to feel like a little bit better here. But I think if surrounded by you fine gentlemen, if we can just lay it all out on the table tonight, cleanse ourselves, I think I might be ready to finally turn the page.
I just have to ask real quick, Mayhew, since it was Home Alone 2 and not the first one, was it when he is out on the ice and goes underneath the cop's legs? Is that you from behind?
You called it. Yeah.
I knew it.
They call me the third sticky bandit too, by the way. That's just a little bit.
This dad was the third member of the Blues Brothers. He'll never turn down a dance floor, even if you ask him to. And the song Devil Went Down to Georgia was written as a tribute to his accolades. Please give it up for the paterfamilias, Buddy.
Hey, thank you so much. Good to be here with you guys tonight. Thanks, Chaz. Thanks, Dad, for asking me to come back on.
He called me Chaz. I felt like I was in trouble for a second. And last, but surely not least, our new favorite repeat guest. He's welcome anytime, as long as he doesn't bring that stupid friend Shane from Shawano, who, since our last episode, I've had to file a restraining order against. The dad with the dreads, Mr. Dave Peterson.
Hey, thank you so much, Chaz. Thank you, dads. It took a second to wipe away that loss, but we're here, and let's get it going.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Mr. Peterson. Guys, this one hurt. We all know it did. I want to hear about some initial impressions of this game. First of all, Buddy, you were actually at this game. Amazing. I mean, must have been super psyched. I'm sorry you had to witness this game in particular, but I want to ask, what was the vibe? What was the vibe like in the stadium? And specifically, what were the fans like on both sides?
The vibe in the stadium was the fans. The fans were good. They were fired up, and there was a lot of Lions fans. They were fired up. I mean, we were going back and forth a lot, chants back and forth. But the fans were into the game for most of it. The end was a little hard. The end was a little hard, but even the pregame stuff outside the stadium was a lot of fun. There was a lot of chanting going on, and people giving people a hard time.
Didn't we see you on the Packer pregame show?
Yeah, I was out there.
Were you wearing an old Woodson jersey?
Wearing the Woodson jersey.
Oh,
Yep.
man,
Number
that's
21.
awesome.
I thought I spotted you.
Yeah,
and,
that beard.
And chanting the Go Pack Go, getting them going, and telling people to cheese up on D. I was screaming.
You got it. I mean, take your hats off to that gentleman. Really
Well
just
done.
spread it to the masses there, bud. As far as because sometimes we don't know where the fans are sitting in the stadium. Did you have at least decent seats? Where were you placed? I only asked because I want to know, like, could you follow what was actually happening on the game? Because there was a lot of trickery going on with penalty plays in this game. So,
well, I had a nice overview. I was a little higher up this time, and so I was up in the corner area, on the edge of the end zone, up high enough where I could, look out over the field and see how things were developing. I could not see the sideline closest to me, where the players were, because if somebody caught a ball over there, I couldn't really pick that up. But the rest of the field I could. But there was a lot of stuff going on.
Near the south and the southern side, right? You were facing the Packers entrance.
North.
You were north.
I was in the north, yeah. The north end zone corner. I guess it'd be the northwest corner. So yeah, and there were some penalties and stuff that went on out in the field that we thought was bizarre. We didn't know what was going on. They didn't really explain it real well. They just kind of talked about personal fouls, and people are like, what's going on? So we didn't get the benefit of being able to follow that very well.
And like the ejection, I imagine you couldn't see it at all. I imagine 90% of you didn't even know what was going on. I mean, I don't want to dig too far into this because it's going to be a big topic we're going to talk about, but I mean, just being at the game.
Right. Yeah. Being at the game, we had no idea, all of a sudden there was a flag, and then they were getting ready to start another play. And then all of a sudden they stopped play and said there was an ejection. And we're like, what the heck? Nobody knew. Couldn't tell.
I mean, finally, Dad, I know you've been to a lot of Packer games. Where does this one rank? Where does this one rank 1 to 10? 1 being, I've been to a losing game, it's early in the season, and 10 being we lost the Super Bowl and I paid $4,000 for tickets.
This was a pretty disappointing game. The Packers came out and I thought they were pretty flat the whole game. They were weak. It seemed like, and the Lions seemed like they were strong, like they wanted it more than we did. We just didn't seem like we were ready, and I thought the play calling was bad. But it was a game to get into the playoffs. So that made it important and made it exciting. I believe it might have been Aaron Rodgers' last game, and I wanted to be there for that. If that's the case. And so, that was big to me, even though I think Rodgers probably should have been out a couple of years ago.
Buddy, just curious, did you hear in general chatter about eavesdropping. Were people talking about this feels like Rodgers' last game? He should call it. Was there any discussion like that in the actual stadium?
No, I didn't hear any of that in the stadium.
Well, gentlemen, I think it's only fitting to go to really the next segment, which is who's to blame? Who is responsible for Sunday's loss? I'm going to take it to the man who slaps the base the best. Tyson, who is to blame for this travesty?
Oh, man, that's a big question. I mean, I gotta go back to like, okay. Answer your question. Who is to blame for that? It's Matt LaFleur. I gotta say, Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur for not taking control of the fact that we weren't executing the game plan, these options of run or pass, that we were taking the pass and not hitting it. There should have been more intervention earlier. So who's to blame? Matt LaFleur for getting out coached by fucking Dan Campbell. That's pretty bad.
I'm putting this one right on Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
You know, Tyson's been saying it this season, and I was having a hard time believing it, that the game is moving too fast for Aaron Rodgers. But in that game, it was all too apparent, where he was a one-read quarterback. He was panicking. He couldn't step up like he used to. He was zero threat on the run. Even when he had a clear shot to the end zone, he throws the ball because he doesn't have the wheels. And I was probably in denial. That's probably the best way to describe it. But when Tyson was saying, "Oh, this game's moving," I'm like, "Yeah, he's the same athletic quarterback he's always been." No, he was a level below even his own expectations, I think. And that's where I got to put the blame.
Understood. Tyson, you said it seemed like you were going to say something right there at the end. I want to hear what you wanted to say.
What Ty just said, it seemed like Aaron Rodgers played below his own expectation, I'd say is pretty much the theme of the day. It felt like it was all about Aaron Rodgers proving to himself he still got it and making poor decisions or trying to make throws and being off by 10 yards. And just like, if it would have been out in front of him, that guy was open. He was short. You know, there were all these moments where it felt like Rodgers was like half hard and needed to get it all the way up, you know, and he was just like, I could do it. And we have one drive that felt like, all right, here we go. But then he got all limp dicked on us again. And he was back to like trying to prove to himself that he could do it. And I felt like that was what the day was. It was like he had already moved on in legacy mode to the next thing. And now it's like, how do I deal with the fact that I'm old and cold and I can't make these throws. I like, he looked like he tried to make the throw. He thought he nailed it. And he's like, I can't believe it's short. Like it should be there. So I thought that was like the whole game. That's what it was about.
What about you, Mr. Peterson? Who's to blame?
Well, Matt LaFleur is to blame, of course, because he's the one who manages the team. He's the one that takes care of things. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers gets to go for it on 4th down in the first quarter with 8 minutes. I think that's
right.
just
Right,
boneheaded
yeah.
John Madden style play, and it's not a video game. And, I'm sure, if you were to say, well, Aaron probably did want to go for it. And yeah, of course he wanted to go for it because he's an offensive guy. If pyromaniacs want to start fires, if you give them matches, so got to be smart enough to not do that. So it's Matt LaFleur's fault.
Wow. Tough words, buddy. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. I think LaFleur called a poor game, but I also think Rodgers changed some plays that didn't work out so well.
Absolutely. Aaron, I know you have an opinion.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this a little bit, and all the answers the rest of you have given is is very fair. Very fair. Blame's got to land on somebody, but at the end of the day, for me personally, and buddy, I'm sorry you have to hear this, but I got to blame your son Chaz. Okay, the
Oh.
foundation of this podcast
Here it
was
comes.
born
I
upon
knew this was coming.
cheesing up on beef. With good old fashioned fucking cheddar, Swiss, pepper jack. I
Hey,
don't care.
you
I
didn't
don't care
cheese
what you
up
do.
on me.
I don't care what you do, but this motherfucker, because he's on some kind of like a diet, created what he called cheese, which was
That wasn't
he
cheese.
took zucchini, coconut milk, herbs, garlic, bunch of fucking bullshit, and then he
Nutritional
solidified
yeast.
it with gelatin.
At this
Oh,
point in the
Lord,
season. At this point in the
forgive my
At
season.
the most
son.
crucial point of the season, and then he sliced it up, tried to feed it to his friends, and not a single fucking person touched it either. I mean, guys,
Fucking
you fucked
Chad.
us, Chad.
Defense
You
was
fucked
flat.
us.
It was flat. Now 20 points should have been enough to win the game, but I don't know. There were some third downs there. I'm like, are we even cheesing from the South right now?
No. No. And it's gonna be a while before he can come back from Corpus Christi and show his face.
Chaz, you got to say something so we can get you on camera. You
I-
son of a
I-
bitch.
I plead the fifth. I'm
Uh,
sorry, guys. Believe me, no one is more upset than I was not being able to drink or like eat carbs or especially eat cheese that I spent a really fucking long time making specifically so I'd have something. And then to watch literally everybody go like, not touching that again. And I was like, no, you have to eat this. You have to eat this. Not only because of the work I put in, like this is it. This is the teetering spot. You need to eat this now.
Should have just
So
served him real
I have
cheese.
to.
Should have just
I
served
have-
him real Wisconsin cheese, Chaz.
I literally told a friend at halftime, I was like, I need you to go to the bodega and get a kid's pack of string cheese and bring it back and sneak it into the house and give me some that I can keep in my pockets. When Mel's not looking, I'll just be like. But ladies and gentlemen, yes, I'll give it to you. 10% of our loss is my fault. I'll take 10%, but no more. We've got to go to our first commercial break. We'll be back in just a second. Do you have that roommate? Are you looking to get back at those in-laws staying at your house for the weekend? Then you need Jimmy the laundry fucker. Jimmy is the best way to get back at any and everyone responsible for the slightest of slights. Basically, he sneaks into their house and fucks their clean laundry. It's that simple. Neighbors, dog shitting in your lawn, laundry fuck. Somebody have too many items in the express lane at the grocery store, laundry fuck. Did Grandma take the last piece of cheese at Grandpa's funeral? Laundry fuck. So get Jimmy the laundry fucker today and sleep easy at night knowing your enemies are sleeping on cum pillows.
Where do these sponsors come from? My God.
Welcome back to Two Dads and a Chaz podcast, ladies and gentlemen. You know what time? Wait, second quarter, right? Second quarter. Wait a minute. That's the Porcelain Princess time to shine. We hit me with some of them PFF grades. Bubba.
All right, boys, the numbers tell the story as always. So let's break it down here. We start off statistically over on the Packers side. Aaron Rodgers, 17 to 27, completion percentage of 63, 205 total yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, quarterback rating of 90.8. Adding to the total of 17 games this year that he threw under 250 yards. We can delve into that a little bit later. Moving down on the wide receiver category. Big Dick Day from my man Christian Watson, 5 catches, 104 yards, a long of 45. Al
Broke
Lazard,
100.
4 catches for 41 and the only touchdown of the receiving core, followed by Bobby Tanyan, 3 catches for 29. So a light day through the air, but the running game is where we really suffered, boys. Aaron Jones, 12 carries for 48 yards with a long of 17. He tried his fucking ass off, but he could not get anything going.
How many fumbles? Just one, or was there 3? I felt like there was 3.
Just the one.
4.
I have on paper here. And then AJ Dion, 9 attempts for 33 yards, averaging 3.7. Basically, they took away the run game. And honestly, they were loading the box with what looked like 8 players, sometimes more at times, like begging us to throw the fucking ball. And yet we continued not to. Down on defense real quick, only sack of the day came from our boy, Devontae Wyatt. T-Bone, my man had a day.
He did. He also, yeah. Devontae
We'll get to
Wyatt.
that. We'll get to that. Baby ass bitch. We switch it over to the Detroit side of things because we got to talk about the bad guys. Jared Goff. Everybody thinks is a goddamn dumpster fire of a quarterback. He was 23 of 34, higher completion percentage, higher yards, and higher quarterback ranking than our back-to-back MVP QB. You move it down into the wide receiver category. I don't even fucking know who these guys are. Coming in at number 1, 4 catches, 66 yards. Khalif Raymond. Who is that guy? I think he delivered my pizza like 3 weeks ago. You want to talk to me about receiving cores and how we're lacking talent? Other teams are getting it done with less. Okay. We move down into the defensive category. I just want to mention Aiden Hutchinson, 2 sacks on the day. The guy was a fucking force.
He's a fucking beast, dude. Jesus.
You knew that.
We did. But we move into the PFF rankings. We're going to start with the good. The big dick list here coming in at number 1, Christian Watson with an 88.2. He caught 5 of 6 targets for 104 yards, created 35 yards after the catch, averaged 3.7 yards per route run, but produced 5 first downs and made 1 contested catch. That's like a solid day. I can say like one gleaming aspect of that core is this kid's a fucking star, and it's only going to get brighter and brighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He could make an impact in a game where other guys couldn't, and it didn't seem like it was impossible for him at all.
Coming in at number 2, T-Bone, is the fucking schnoz, who hasn't been on any good list like the entire year. This guy, Tyler Davis, for those of you not familiar with the name, he earned high marks as a blocker over 8 snaps. That's all it says. Well done, Tyler. A.J. Dionne, 65.9. He averaged 3.2 yards after contact and ran for 3 first downs, but unfortunately he dropped a rather crucial pass. Again, we'll probably touch on that a little bit later. Robert Tonyan, 63.9, made a terrific contested catch for 20 yards. And that was a big time play, dude. That was like a basketball star going up in the air at a pretty critical moment where I was like, there you fucking are, Bobby. I just needed more of him. You know what I mean? Where's this guy been all season? What the fuck's going on there, Peterson?
I don't know. But you know what? He's a heads up player. He's tough. He's a Packer. Every time I hear his name, I hear Tyson's voice now gurgling, saying like this.
Big old Bob, Johnny there. Big old Bob.
Like that's how it sounds. Every time I see the guy, it's like,
man, it's Bob Johnny there. Big old Bob here.
So thank you for that.
Thing about
But
Bob is that he's afraid his knee might explode. So it's hard for him to jump with all of his force. He's afraid his leg might blow right out of his knee.
Is that why he fell down every time he caught the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's with that?
He had
Why
like
is he falling down every time he catches the ball?
But he's
He's
playing it
afraid,
safe.
guys. 'Cause he's
You know?
afraid.
You don't wanna-
He's afraid.
thank you, buddy. You saw the same thing I
Big
did.
old Bob
caught the
is
ball.
afraid.
Over the middle, he turned around and then just fall down.
It looked like he was ready to fall down before he even caught the ball. And then as soon as he catches it, he comes down and dives to the ground. What's with that?
No,
But that
it's
one
that-
catch was fabulous.
It's the Alan Lazard, take a nap in the middle of the field, lay down possession receiver technique that our wide receivers core must be like, this is how we're going to do it. You're going to catch the ball. It doesn't matter if anyone's around. You just fetal position on the ground.
the
You
dirt.
just wait for something to happen. Okay. Eventually they'll blow the whistle.
Someone will
We're gonna go
touch
to the
him.
next play.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers ever got over ruining Jermichael Finley's career?
Nope.
I think he's mishandled tight ends the entire time because he's never gotten over ending Jermichael Finley's career.
You just
minute.
break one fella's neck and it just
just-
ruins the game.
You just force a guy to get a $40 million payout and never play another football game again.
And he hates you and talks about you
And talks
negatively in
shit
the
about
press
you.
every time there's an opportunity. Yeah. It really worked out.
People
Sleeping easy.
talking shit about Rodgers. Let's talk about Bobby Tonyan though. One more
Okay.
time here. He almost saved that fumble. Did you guys see that?
No, he did. He's got heart.
He did.
Tried to get his foot out
He
of
put his
bounds.
foot out. He tried. That's heads up stuff. I like him. I
Yeah.
like him a lot.
I'm not talking Razul heads up. I'm talking actual heads up.
No,
Okay.
Razul.
Bob Daniel.
Sorry, Aaron. Let's talk stats. I'm fucking with
Resign
you.
it. Resign it.
What's funny is this has come all the way down here. Even when I was up north, I was getting Marco Polos of people down at my house with my girlfriend, who I didn't think would watch football with me, not even here, where Bobby Tani was getting catches, and I'm getting Marco Polos from random people in the house going, "Wow,
Big old Daniel.
Well, the good news is, fellas, that he's in a contract here, and I think we might be able to pick him up on the cheap. I see this guy coming back next year. I'm a Tanyan fan. I just want more. I'm like, where's this guy been?
Where's he
Anyway, we
been?
need to move on to the defense. Okay, coming in at number 5, Jair Alexander allowed 3 completions all day for just 12 yards total. Dude, this guy came on real hot at the end.
Hell yeah.
He was pissing me off at a certain point this season, contractually. We're like, what are we doing here? But dude, the talent is clearly there. Great signing by Gutekunst, extending this guy. Other thoughts?
Totally
I know,
agree.
Yeah,
Totally
I love the
agree.
player. I like the attitude. I like the energy. I like the fucking, quite frankly, the big dick energy. You know what I mean? This guy brings it and backs it up. And if it doesn't happen, it seems like he brings it back the next week twice, with twice the energy. So like I like what he brings to this team. I like in the face of this defense, which looked at times like they were zip tied and just unable to use parts of their body to even play football, and they're just having to sit here and watch themselves get killed. He was one of the only guys that seriously like still brought the energy of a champion. So I love him.
Yeah, that ability to shake off last week. He came out of that tunnel talking all that trash to Stephon Diggs during the Buffalo game, and then Diggs just owned him. Just was like, oh, I'm just going to catch for like 500 yards today. And Jair, the very next week, was in the tunnel doing the same thing to the other receivers.
It's a champion. It's a champion right there.
Exactly. If you can't be smart, at least be dense.
Never quit.
And
Never
Jair,
learn.
he's an awesome leader. I like the energy he brings to this locker room. But most importantly, I like how he's able to shake off last week and just it's a new day every day.
Overall, boys, a couple other names
got-
on this list.
The best hat in the locker room as well. Let's face it.
The what?
Yeah.
That hat.
Not the size is how you use it, but it's also the size. You know what I mean, Ty? You know what I'm talking about?
It's not the motion of the ocean, but it doesn't hurt when it's the Pacific.
What did he say?
All right, Aaron, more stats here. Talk about Ty's dick. We're moving on.
We'll shorten it up. On the top 5, like Devondre Campbell's on here, Kenny Clark's on here, Chris Barnes. But coming in at number 1, Devontae Wyatt, boys. This guy played 32 snaps, earning a score of 91.1, one of the highest the entire year, earning an elite pass rush grade after producing a sack and a forced fumble. Dude, this guy finally got some playing time, and we're seeing like the results. I mean, we
He
call
looked like a first round pick out there.
From
Oh
a
wait, he
top
was
school.
a first round pick out there. Wait a minute, that was our first round pick. Why did it take our team that long to let him play? That makes me outrageously angry. And it wasn't until later in the game when I kind of got an idea of why maybe we didn't let him play until that point. Because dude backed up Quay in one of the dumbest, most bonehead fucking plays ever. Walked right into it.
Did you say butt bonehead?
No, he bonehead plays. I don't know what I said, but either way, he's. My point is that I'm curious how fucking crazy is this guy to not get opportunity to play, because physically, athletically, he looks like a fucking freak out there. That was an amazing play, amazing game. He looked really, really good. I'm not surprised by the stats because he looked like a force.
Yeah, agreed. Anyway, can't take the good without the bad. Sweet's got sour, right? So we got to move into the bottom 5 in both categories. Coming in number 5, Razul Douglas gave up 3 completions and had one of the weirdest penalties I've seen in a long fucking time. We'll touch on that in a little bit. Preston Smith on here with a 51.1. He had 2 missed tackles, more tackles than pressures and stops, which was 0 over 57 snaps. Guy was like basically not even there. Justin Hollins coming in on this list, who he stepped up a little bit lately, but he didn't have a tackle, stop, or pressure. And then coming in, of course, is Quay Walker. Walker missed a tackle, gave up 4 completions on 4 targets in coverage, and had a penalty ejection in the 4th quarter. There's not a lot of good here, boys. No. Oh, not chatty now. Got it. Okay. Let's just talk about the quarterback real quick. We can move on here.
Oh yeah, we got to move on back to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'd say now that we've done the small breakdown, let's get into the deep breakdown. As far as let's start with offense, some little offensive focused discussion here.
I got to throw numbers at you because this is all I got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers with a 56.0, one of the lowest of the entire year. All right, Dave. He struggled mightily under pressure, completing just 4 of 9 passes for 50 yards and an interception on 12 dropbacks under pressure. But when nothing's in his face, he's pretty solid. 13 of 18 for 155 yards. That sounds like a high school game. And then he had 3 big-time throws and 3 turnover-worthy plays, all when he tried to throw the ball over 20 yards. At the same time, he was also plagued by 4 rather critical drops. It wasn't all his fault, Dave. It wasn't all his fault. Yeah,
Maybe okay, Dave.
that's the picture that the numbers paint. Back to you, Chaz.
Yeah. Again, I think we're just going to move into a more condensed version of this discussion between offense and defense for this game. And I do want to go back and throw it to Peterson. And I want to talk about Rodgers since we just closed with Rodgers. Let's keep talking about it. Let's hear, buddy.
Well, so what I saw, in this game was someone who's trying to manage, but like you're saying, they're dropping the passes. It's not like people are getting open and getting creative. This was a resort back to the way things were before, where it's like when things break down, you need people who can get open and you play street ball a little bit more. If the protection's there, he's going to make the throw. If the protection's not there, it's not going to happen. And that's part of street ball. That happens up on the front and in the backfield. The receivers have to get open and the pocket has to stay intact. Or he needs to get out of it and make something happen. And that's usually what it goes down. So I don't know. I don't think this guy's washed up yet, you guys. I really don't.
You agree with that, buddy?
No, I don't. I saw the game a little differently. I saw him not making passes, throwing at people's knees, and just not really connecting. He wasn't Aaron, except for one drive. I thought, oh, this guy's looking good again. But then he went back to the good old Aaron Rodgers. And I saw 2 interceptions. I know he only got credited for 1, but there was 2. One got called back from a penalty, but he was throwing bad balls. He was making bad decisions. There was pressure on him. I'll give him credit there. The defensive line was getting to him, but I think it's time, man. I think it's time for him to retire. It's time for him to move on. It's time for us to go to something new, some youth.
Well, I mean, I know that Tyson's got enough to talk about as far as the youth and just his love for this guy. But what do you think, brother?
Man, I've had a long and complicated relationship with Aaron Rodgers, and I will say, at this point in his career, it seems to me that he's the last one to know that Grandpa doesn't do well with night driving. Like he is not wanting to admit the fact that this dude drives like shit. As soon as the sun goes down, he's like, no, I'm good. I got it. But it's scary for everyone involved. And we're all like, no, it's cool. It's not cool at all. This guy has lost an edge when it gets cold, when it gets to be night games. And guess what? When you're a premier team, that's one of our best assets in biggest edge is that we play outside in the cold and our fans are fucking bulletproof and don't care at all. right? This is what makes the Green Bay Packers terrifying to any team that doesn't have to deal with cold weather. Because that's usually, as a millionaire, you don't have to deal with that, you know? So I just think that Rodgers is the last one to realize that you can't go out there and look and see stuff when it's cold and you are old. You need to play sharp. You need to play in rhythm. He did it one drive, buddy. That drive, you said he looked like a quarterback for one drive. And if he had put that much effort into any other dropbacks, and he wasn't just sitting back there looking and then throwing a weird off-time pass at someone's knees, or a terrible check down ball that almost is a fumble because it's a terrible ball. Like it's time. It's time for him to look at the tape and realize that, like, we gave him all the rope he needs to look into himself and say, man, without me playing absolutely perfect, as hard as I can, every single down, completely checked in and all about it, I can't win in this league. And I don't think that he still sees himself there. I think he thinks that he can dance around there, play jazz, and pow, and like shoot it out there. It's just not happening. So
it also gave him just enough rope to hang himself.
Exactly. And boy, let me tell you, if Aaron Rodgers has a great year this year, and then we're sitting here, will he, won't he, in the offseason, this is certainly a good situation for Jordan Love. If we're transitioning after that year, after watching that, like waiting for magic to happen, it's time on a lot of levels. And if it isn't time, I think that it's going to be a lot more contentious and way more of the Favre experience, which is going to be crazy to go through. So I feel like there was enough there.
I got a question.
He's done.
If Jordan Love played this game instead of Aaron Rodgers,
yeah,
would he have done any worse than what we saw out there?
No way. No way.
Would he have lost this game any worse?
Nobody knows.
Oh no! Come on, Peterson. Don't come on. I know what you want to say. Come on.
Speculate. Make some shit up. Say some stuff you'll likely regret.
Come on.
So
Come on.
Here's what it is. No, absolutely not. Because here's the problem.
How dare you talk to my father that way? I'm just
talking to all you guys, okay? Even Ty and his giant dong. So listen, here's the problem. Here's the miscalculation, you guys. And this is what we all need to hear. Detroit's actually good.
Oh, fuck off.
Detroit's good.
Oh,
no. Now I know you're crazy. No.
Okay. Well, they won a lot of games against a lot of teams.
8.
How many times did they beat us?
A lot.
Yeah.
Twice.
Dave, even a blind squirrel wins 6 or 7 or 8 games.
Just saying, man.
They do have heart.
Say it last week.
They got heart.
I wanted to text Mayhew during the day, but I didn't want to be a dad. But I didn't feel good about that game at all because they aren't the same team that we think they are from however many 30 years of crap besides Barry Sanders and then like a couple hiccups. Dude,
we're a good enough team to beat that fucking team. I'm sorry, Dave. We are a better team than that team is a team. Our quarterback played worse than that quarterback, and that's why we lost that game. Jared Goff in the fourth quarter.
Defense lost us that game, and our coach.
Jared Goff was like 8 for 8
it.
in the fucking
Rein it in,
quarter,
fellas.
and Rodgers was 2 for 8. That's a fucking problem. You can't have those stats closing out a game. That's terrible.
We are still talking about. I know we are still talking about Aaron Rodgers, and there's still one person I haven't heard from yet, and then we can continue with this because this one is going to be a minute. But I at least want to ask because I had a point about. I remember 2 for 6. You got. I'll write it down right now. I do have to ask because the saying is, lightning never strikes twice, right? And we've seen Aaron Rodgers over and over and over and over again be either really great or really bad. And we've seen him that he has, like Dad said, he'll have these drives where he looks like old Aaron Rodgers. But Ty, do we keep Aaron Rodgers because he's just fucking Aaron Rodgers and he can? Or do we fucking just cut the fucking cord?
No, man, it's See, here's the thing. It's his team. It's been his team for a while, and it's his team for as long as he wants it to be. And that's the most frustrating thing about this. It's just like Tyson said, he's the last guy to know. And we all see it and everybody sees it. And I have a feeling he'll come to the right conclusion, whatever that is for him. But as far as the Packers are concerned, we could really use a change.
I agree. I agree with that
We could
wholeheartedly.
use some balls. We could
Yeah,
use
you-
some big balls.
Yes.
That's
And
what
that
we
comes
could
from your
use, some
coach.
big old
Somebody with something to
balls.
prove. Somebody with something
Guys,
to prove.
we're
would be-
guys. Hang on. I've got 2 and 6 written down. We're gonna follow down. We are gonna get to coaching and play calling at the very end of offense. Don't worry,
Let's
I've got it
talk
written down.
26.
I will remember it. But as far as my own personal thoughts on Aaron Rodgers before we move into the receiving core, man, Dad, do you remember us crying at the Super Bowl? Fucking frozen and wet, like one of the happiest moments, literally the happiest moments I think I've ever shared with you in my entire life. Like you can't beat it. Almost quitting my job because like I couldn't believe what I'd watched that season and just getting to spend that with you. Like so having to deal with like this absentee landlord of a parent or role model or quarterback has been difficult. However, I've worked in enough jobs. I've changed careers enough times. I've done enough things. I've seen people doing enough changing themselves over time in their lives, and things shuffle. That if you're not doing the job, it's time to do something else. It's just that simple. Like if I didn't show up for an entire year, no matter what I was doing, I would not maintain having my job. I don't get paid $50 million a year. I think I should, obviously, for this. Duh. The amount of work I put into it, but I am ready for a clean slate. And I was ready for that 3 seasons ago.
Boys, I want to point out real quick, I'm almost positive that this may be the first time in Rodgers' entire career that he was swept by a divisional opponent, and it was the fucking Detroit Lions. Now let that sink in a little bit, just a little bit. Now, Dave, let me give it to you straight here, buddy. All right. I fucking admire the man. His talent level, as far as understanding of the game and his ability to throw the ball, I think he may be potentially the greatest of all time in like a certain category there. And that's not just as a Packer fan. I'm being fucking real. At the same time, I know what he is. I have seen this same fucking scenario play out over a decade since we won a Super Bowl. And every year it's like, what is it? Oh, we didn't have this. It was the defense. It was that. It was that. And it summed it up for me, man. When we were we were on the goal line and he had the ball, he starts running. He could have just fucking taken a massive hit. Maybe he gets in the end zone. Maybe he doesn't. Or throw like a halfway decent pass to, I think it was like Jones, who was fucking covered there. But he fucking shivered through like a horrible pass, fell to the ground. And I'm like, how invested are you in what's happening right now? This man is not like focused on football at the level I want my quarterback to be, and I don't blame him, dude. He's been doing it for almost 20 fucking years. He's got other interests. I get it. But we're paying this man an incredible amount of money. And I think I'm at a point where I'm really curious what this team looks like without him dictating offense to the coach, without him, in my mind, I think kind of intimidating some of the other like players, like receivers, where they feel like they can't necessarily come to him in a fashion I think would be approachable. And so it's a lot of stuff for me, man. We're like, Aaron, I know you fucking listen. I know you listen. We love you, man, on this show. We love you
Clearly.
on this show, and you deserve everything, a lot of accomplishments. But man, what are we going to do? Are we going to do the same thing next year and just kind of like see how it goes? We're going to tackle that in a little bit here because it seems like that's the direction we're heading. And like, Dave, is that what you want? Do you want more of the same?
Here's the problem. And yes, of course, I want more of the same from that quarterback. I want Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback still. I really do. Here's the deal. And it's so cliched. It's like saying, it's not the heat, it's the humidity. Okay, yeah, and that's true.
That's because it's a fucking fact, bro.
Yeah, and defense wins championships. And that's a fact. And the last time we had a top 5 defense, we won a championship. And every other time we haven't had one and we haven't gotten a championship. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. I can't believe it. what's going on here? My mind is blown. We don't have the fucking defense to stop anybody ever. It always breaks down. Look at the fourth quarter.
And we don't have a quarterback that can mentally manage
Baloney.
himself enough to watch a defense suck and say, fuck it, I'm going to go out and do my job. We have a guy who watches it and sulks and goes out there and plays down.
Bingo.
That's the problem.
He
This
says,
guy doesn't
why would I
have the
put my
fucking
body on
drive."
the line when you guys, why would I put my body on the line that's been through so much and done it all? And then I go on the sideline and then you guys just shit the bed. And then here, strap it on, Aaron, put the chin
Because
strap
you're
on.
getting paid
Out
$50
again.
million
supposed to be-
dollars.
No, it's not about the pay at all. It's not about the pay at all.
are
Why
that
would you
guy.
put
No,
your
no,
body
you're
on
supposed
the
to be the
line?
But hold
leader.
on, hold on,
Football
guys,
player.
hold on. One at a
You're
time.
supposed to be the leader of the most dangerous sport that everybody
Yes.
watches and still feels good about it.
About
You're
hockey.
supposed to be the
On the
one that
field.
goes out there and brings the energy of what this team's about. That's the reason why you put
No.
it on the line, and that's what the greats do. And he's
Nope.
supposed to be a fucking great.
The leader is Matt LaFleur.
Bullshit.
Okay, he's the coach.
Bullshit.
He's the leader.
Easy, fellas, everybody, calm down,
Hang on.
'cause- no, hold on,
Hey,
Dave.
shit.
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
Telling
here.
people to calm down never works. You just got to tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
Tell
Dave,
me
shut
to
the fuck
calm
up,
down.
because I have a bunch of numbers I really want to throw at you here, because I knew
Yeah,
you were
man,
going to
of
come
course you
armed,
do.
come armed
Here
with this
comes bro.
bullshit defense thing. Let's run through the entire season, starting with the points this defense gave up. Okay,
Mhm. But we're
27,
but go ahead.
21, 17, 15,
Beatable. Winnable.
21, 24, 17. Biggest game we gave up was against Philly, where it was this 33. And then this one's actually only 7, followed by 21. And then yesterday was Sunday was 20. Dude, this is 2023 in the NFL. If you hold teams under 20, under fucking 30, you should be winning games. The defense was actually not the issue, in my opinion, this entire season. We
Yeah,
bagged
but
Joe
it's
Barry.
ranked.
We can dive into that. Dude, this offense was wildly under par. The man didn't throw over 250 yards more than one time.
He didn't hit
You're
a
telling-
300-yard game all year, bro. That's fucking pathetic.
Yeah, but
I'm-
look at the
Pathetic.
receivers. They drop everything, and they didn't
Dave,
get.
I'm not
They
blaming
still
just
got
Aaron
3
Rodgers, but
quarters
do
away
not
from-
come in this pod and say there was the fucking defense's fault. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it kind of is, because that's who loses the games. It's the defense.
Aaron Rodgers, this legendary quarterback and the best running unit duo in the league, should be putting up 30 yards a game. It should not be hard to
30
beat a
points.
points. It should not be hard to beat a team.
See, he was indoctrinated into thinking that because they were
Hey,
averaging 30 yards.
Don't interrupt Big Dick Ty. Ty, continue.
Bringing the energy drink today. No, I mean, the point Mayhew made was solid in that, like, this awesome quarterback didn't have to do much except for score 24 points a game on average to have a far better record than we have right now. And
You
I
ever
would
played
be-
Madden and gotten less than 20 points and been like, it wasn't my fault. Like, no way. Nuh-uh.
Matt LaFleur's playing Madden all the time, and it's not paying off. So I don't know.
Maybe we
I just
need
say
to-
that-
it doesn't rest solely on
think
Aaron
that-
Rodgers' shoulders. It doesn't. It's not completely Aaron Rodgers,
Exactly.
everything bad that happened. However, he's the leader of this team, and a lot of the subpar play that we saw came from Aaron Rodgers this year. And he really was a letdown. And I just hope that he's not looking to come back and punish us again, because he really doesn't have the numbers. I mean, it's not just the numbers, but it's the leadership and all those intangibles too that I also have issues with. But
Gentlemen,
Listen.
we're not
Go ahead.
closing the book on it, but we do at least have to move on from at least Aaron Rodgers to get through the rest of the offense and the defense. We have a couple more segments coming up where Aaron Rodgers is going to get talked about. What were you going to say, Tyson?
I was gonna say we talked about Rodgers, and we talked a little bit about the receivers. I'd like to talk about Dave's thing that no one catches anything. I'd love to talk about the receivers this year. I think that there's a lot to talk about.
agree. And the first thing I want to bring up is something, and I don't normally like bringing up content that I've heard in other podcasts specifically, but this is something that I found extremely interesting that everybody's talking about. And that is, why the fuck is Christian Watson running end arounds? Why the fuck is this constantly a thing I saw in this game? It opened the game with it. And when I'm asking this, I'm not asking as if I know what I'm talking about. I'm actually asking why it was a thing, why we thought that this scheme was a good idea.
Why is Lazard running end arounds when he's the slowest
That's
receiver
a better
on the team?
question. A better question.
Ding, ding,
Yeah, why the
ding.
fuck are we running with Bob Tunyon on end arounds? Why are we not utilizing guys that have speed? So you want Christian Watson running an end around. He is going to flaunt to the entire team that, like, shit, we can't stay with this guy. Him running a lightning fast end around and some poor bastard, a linebacker, and then a corner, and then a safety, all getting burnt by him, even though he didn't really get the ball, or like it didn't really work.
He never got first downs on any of them.
I know, but the reason why you do it early in a game is to make a statement. The same statement you'd make with MVS by burning him past everybody, to be like, look the fuck out, this guy's fast. You know, like, we need that threat, especially with the limitations that Aaron Rodgers brings. I think that without it, this team we got figured out in 2.5 weeks. You know, we need that aspect of the game and believing it. So, like,
Christian Watson on the end around too is keep him honest move.
can we just go through each receiver? Is that okay?
We can fake on the RPO. We can put him in motion.
Keep it quick.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking Christian Watson right now. Christian Watson, wide receiver. Aaron Mayhew, what are your thoughts on Christian Watson, wide receiver, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, from the draft point of you and I watching him get drafted to where we are right now out of football, God damn it, in 2023?
Well, he was just explained as a super athlete that had drop issues in college. Now, this poor motherfucker, he comes out first play of the goddamn season opener with the most perfect ball that probably Rodgers threw all year, in stride. He drops it, and then we just fucking crumble in that game entirely. Dude, his confidence was fucking shot. On top of that, he was dealing with fucking hemi, groin issues. The kid wasn't 100% like the first 8, 9, 10 weeks of the season. And then as he slowly came in, all they would do was end arounds where we could see the speed. But I'm like, are we going to throw this guy the ball? You're telling me you can't give a route tree to him where, like, we can see him down the field? Isn't it for taking the top off the defense? And then all of a sudden they started doing that. The guy catches a couple of passes, gets his fucking confidence up. And man, he had a run there. What was it? It was like 5-6 games with like a touchdown. He was like on pace for like a record, so on and so forth. Come near the end of the season, kid's an absolute star. I think moving up in the draft to pick him was an incredibly smart move. Sky's the limit as far as I'm concerned.
I completely agree. I think anyone who says that our wide receiving core is bad is going to eat those words every year more and more, that this guy stays healthy and continues to play wide receiver in the NFL. If he can stay healthy for 5 years, I don't understand how he's not a top 5 player unless he literally can't catch, and that's what's wrong with him. Right now, he made some catches towards the end of the year that made me believe this guy has a lot to offer and is a difference maker and a guy that you scheme your entire offense around. So, like, I'm so glad that we drafted him and that he's on our team, because I have a lot of hope, regardless of who's quarterback, because that guy's on our team.
Buddy, I got a question for you. Is
Shoot.
Cobby coming back?
Cobby coming back? No, Cobby's not coming back.
No fucking way.
No
way. But he's got the
coming
prettiest
back.
eyes in the game, Dad. Can you imagine watching that man
was trying
cry?
to get the ball to him as much as he could, though, because Aaron knows he's not coming back.
You think
Aaron
that was the
knows-
last?
Aaron
yeah.
knows he's not coming back. They talked about it on the radio that they walked out of the game together, arm in arm. Two buddies waving goodbye, and I heard they walked in kind of like that too. I didn't get to see all that stuff, but that's what I heard. They came in that way, they went out that way, and it seemed like he was trying to force some balls to him, and he had some pretty good plays.
I agree.
But no,
I mean, and
he's not coming back.
I just got to say, I mean, if I could paint a watercoloring of that man's eyes and like turn it into a bunch of merchandise, like lay on like a nice beach with it or sell it to like a bunch of cougars, like I just feel like there's a market for it somewhere, but it'll never probably happen unless
He
Dave
is
Newsom
beautiful. He is beautiful.
print-
He
can-
should
can print
probably
this thing
be.
for me.
He should probably be a cowboy with those eyes because it kind of matches the uniforms.
Yeah, it's a good call. It's a
foam
good call.
pants.
Good call.
He's done.
But Ty, Mr. BD Ty, Dubes, how do we feel about Dubes?
Love Dobbs. I think he fought hard. He's not getting the attention that he probably deserves, but I think he fought hard. I think it's been a tough season. Absolutely been a tough season. And when you've got Aaron Rodgers, it's tough to crack that, man. It's tough to crack into that safe. And I think he's got potential going forward. I just the head space, man, kind of there's a reason that he's only getting 1 or 2 catches a game. And it's not for a lack of talent. And it's tough to watch when he's fighting so hard to not get any attention.
Tyson, are you ripping your skin off? What's happening?
I am. I hate what you're saying right now, Ty. Because here's the thing. I think Romeo Dobbs is our future. I think if this guy is he is in the wrong
Oh, no.
spot. This
Here
should be our slot wide receiver. He should be where we have Randall Cobb. He should be the guy that can he's an incredible route runner. He's a really heady player. His focus is incredible. Like he has every personality trait of a dominant slot wide receiver. And we have put him on the outside because Rodgers likes him and because we felt like as a rookie that was the safe thing to do. But I think he's got a lot to offer. I remember earlier in the year when he was everything. Aaron, I know you know what I'm talking about. There was a point in this year where like I was watching the game to watch how good Romeo Dobbs was. This is a 5th round pick, guys. This is a 5th round pick that seriously showed up in mini camps, in summer camp, the whole fucking thing. In preseason, he was a star, and then he came into the league and is dealing with a team that has Christian Watson who has a hamstring pull. We drafted another guy who's supposed to be experienced, or we got a guy in free agent.
But what's that got to do with him?
He's good. That's my point. He's got a lot to offer.
He's got fabulous hands as well. His hands, the way he catches the ball.
I watched him live.
Didn't have fabulous hands on Sunday.
I was just gonna say
That's one drop.
He dropped
It happens.
one.
Maybe where you
He
at?
sucks. He sucks, and he needs to come around. You know, it's so pathetic that we can just sit here and be like, well, these guys. Aaron puts the ball right where they need to have it. Not every single time, but 90% of the time, and they drop it.
That's not how the
first pass of the year cost
$50 million.
It cost a lot of weeks of head case, and I'm glad the Dallas Cowboys game was able to kind of showcase how good Watson is and how amazing he's going to be. And I agree with that. He's fast and amazing. Dobbs, I don't know. Look at Sammy. What's about Sammy?
Sammy Watkins is old and washed up and doesn't have the man.
Mayhew,
Mayhew, where you at on Dobbs? Mayhew, I know you like Dobbs. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, boys, it was my big dick pick. And everybody in this room is 100% accurate. Tyson, what you said, this guy took on a huge workload earlier in the season. He was a fucking star in the making while Christian was out. Since he's come back, it was really quiet. And I'm not sure if it's like a chemistry thing with A-Raj, but I left him off the PFF earlier. He was actually the #1 lowest rated offensive player. Peterson, just like you said, he dropped 2 passes, didn't have a catch on 12 routes run, but it was that fucking dime that A-Raj threw when he was streaking down the sideline. That felt to me like 6 points. Like if he catches that ball, he's fucking gone. And man, that was an absolute heartbreaker. But moving on, Ty, Allen Lazard, I got a question for you. I know he does the fucking dirty work. He's the blocker, blah, blah, blah. And the chemistry with Aaron Rodgers is very clear. He trusts this guy. He throws it into windows, goes to him on first downs. If Aaron Rodgers wasn't the quarterback of this team, do you think Allen Lazard would have a spot on this roster? because I question his ability for separation. I wonder, he's in a contract year too, man. So it's going to be decision time for the GM, and I'm curious. What do you think?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, I like football players. So I like guys that are going to play hard no matter what position you put them at, wherever you put them. Lazard to me is a football player. He just goes out and he does whatever's asked of him. I like to keep those guys around. I think those guys bleed over and let everybody else believe that they're also football players. And Lazard, all he's ever done has been like, go do this. And he's like, yes. And he's not been the showiest receiver, and he hasn't really developed that true chemistry we've seen Rodgers have with other guys like Jordy or Driver. But Lazard has been a solid football player. And I think that those guys and the team are invaluable. I like Lazard. I think with any other quarterback, he might be in a more blocking position, or he might be in a more position, receiver kind of thing. But I think he's a guy that the Packers are lucky to have, I think.
Alan Lazard is one of those guys that is old and should get replaced. He's not that old, but listen, I've been talking about how great Alan Lazard is all year. What a blocker. What a guy. But I'll be honest, this is a one-dimensional possession receiver that has one move that is consistent, which is a fall down slant that he consistently can run. And aside from that, he's a consistent blocker. To me, he is a depth player. And in his mind, he is a star possession receiver. He is going to go to the right team, which is not us. And he's going to probably demand more money than we should pay him. And he's going to probably have a half a year of looking like, I don't know, who was that guy who went from the Bears to the Alshon Jeffrey? You know what I mean? Where he's going to look good for half a year. And then he's going to remind him that he's slow and that he can't get open for 2/3 of it. And they're going to take away the one thing he does. And that's going to be the story on Alan Lazard, is he's going to get one big contract. And I hope it's not from us, because I think we've taken the best of what we can take out of this JUCO fucking undrafted tight end that we decide to play at wide receiver. And at this point, the experiment is over, and Aaron Rodgers leaned into the wrong fucking dude for the entire season, and it ended up in us doing what we're going to do, which is let him go. That's my Alan Lazard breakdown.
That's well played. That's well
Solid.
played. I think here I want to run through a couple real quick here, because I think they're intertwined here. So the old line, a little bit what I was worried about here. It's just like in the trenches, what was going to happen. And I thought that our offensive line had been playing really hot as of late. They struggled, in my opinion, not opening a lot of holes for the run game. A-Raj, like I said earlier, was under like a decent amount of pressure, 2 sacks, like nothing felt dominant on that side of the ball at all. And so the run game was almost non-existent. It felt like that's what we wanted to do. They fucking knew it. They tried to take it away. And a lot of times I'm like, oh, you just got to keep running the ball. You got to force it. It's like, I don't know, maybe you get creative, throw the ball a little bit, kind of mix it up. That didn't seem to be the case, which brings us now, boys, offensively to coaching and play calling.
What I wanted was the play calling and the energy and the scheme that we had against the Vikings just the previous week before. What I got was that junk that we saw in London and coming back against the Jets. And it was amazing how little he learned in 6 days. He had massive success. He and Joe Barry sat down for 48 hours. They didn't sleep. All they did was eat fucking football. And they came up with this great plan against the Vikings. And we were like, yeah, let's do that from now on. And they were like, actually, remember when in week 6, when it was hard to watch? That's the team we're going to trot out tonight. That's the energy we're going to bring. That's the scheme we're going to bring. That learned nothing from the little bit of success he had this season. That was the thing that I just had my head in my hands during this game, being like, where were you 5 days ago? Because I was watching a coach who was a world beater, who had totally adapted and looked like he was going to be hard to bring down. like a wrestler greased in Crisco. He was ready to go. And instead I got that lame junk that I saw in London. I was just furious, but also just kind of, I can believe it now. Because
Who let my wrestler go unshaved like this? This is not fit for the ring. Where's the Crisco? What the fuck is this? This is
You know
some
why we
shirtless asshole.
You know why we beat the Vikings so bad?
Tell me why, Dave.
Because they fucking suck. That's why. They suck. And you know what? We put them in a tailspin. They're done. Their kicker missed all those kicks. They missed all those turnovers that their quarterback threw. You know, I follow Barstool. They've been talking shit about the Vikings all year, and I have agreed with every article because it's just, you're a fraud. They're a fraud. And I don't think they're going to do shit in the playoffs. I think the Giants are going to go in there and they're going to eat Kirk Cousins alive. They're going to sack him a lot of times, and it's going to be great. I'm going to watch that game for sure. That's why we beat the Vikings so bad. I'll just say this, man. After Sunday, dude, I hate to say it, but I think Detroit's the best team in the NFC or the North, dude. I really do.
Number one offense.
They're tough.
And everybody's in denial.
I hate to say it, you guys. I hate it. I want to punch myself right in the testicles right now, but it's just the truth.
You should do it.
I
You should
won't.
do it.
My
You
voice
should do
is
it.
high
Do
for
it.
The time, it won't work out well. So,
Dad, I have to ask, just because you were there again, and I imagine you were on Packer side. Did the line, as far as coaching, could you see a disconnect? Could you see disarray? Could you see what was going on the sideline?
Yeah, I could definitely see it. You know, it was the biggest problem with in the game was that it wasn't just the line, but it was mostly the line. They were soft. They were weak. They didn't come out with passion. You know, the Packers team altogether, you know, they needed to play like they played against the Vikings. When they came out with some passion and some excitement and some grit, you know, these guys weren't prepared. They were soft, and that comes from the coach. You know, he's kind of a soft coach. You know, he's a smarts guy. He's lay out the plans and how to run the plays and all the little trick stuff, and that's good. He's smart, but he's not football. You know, he's not football. You know,
Fuck no, he's not.
And that's what.
Fuck no,
that's
he's
what
not,
they needed.
buddy.
Yeah, I want to put him right on that same.
Needed.
I want to put him on that same towel.
Was shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. And here's the thing. He's never been that guy. He is not a you-rah-rah coach. He is not a guy that's going to go in and give a locker room speech that's going to change anyone's mind. It's awkward to watch him do locker room speeches. The fucking players have said it themselves. It is a disappointment, in fact, that he is not a positions coach or an offensive coach, but is a head coach, because he's got a lot to offer from that angle. Maybe the most at times in the NFL. But that doesn't change the fact that our team has every opportunity to be great, and we are still following the legendary status of what Aaron Rodgers feels for the game. And this guy cannot get up unless — I knew we were fucked as soon as Aaron sent me a Marco Polo that said, Detroit is out of this. This is just our game to win. As soon as I realized Aaron Rodgers had nothing to play for, this team, that he was not gonna get up for this game. He needs the other team. We play up to the other team or down to the other team's potential in general, because it seems like if we were able to just focus on like this team versus us, winner take all, let's go. As soon as we realized all we got to do is just beat the Lions, the energy went out of the building. If it would have been the Lions and the Packers duke it out at 3:15, And that was going to be the game. And we didn't know how the other game affected it. And it was winner take all. I guarantee we win that game because Aaron Rodgers has something to play for. He played with a chip on his shoulder. He'd get past the fact that he's not hitting the ball. He'd realize the levity of the game. As soon as it became them playing for nothing and us playing for something, it flipped. And they looked like they had everything to play for. They were playing for their manhood, for their willingness.
Well,
to
Dan
even play
Campbell,
this
Dan
game.
Campbell is standing in the locker room hitting guys on shoulder pads. Exactly. Telling
And
them
we're
nothing
walking
to
out
play
like
for.
we
You don't
got a
show
bye
them
week.
nothing to play for.
Yeah, we look like we got a first round bye as we go out there. We're looking like we don't need to win this game, that we are just going to take. And we're used to playing like that at this time of the year. We're used to playing like that this particular game that seems to pop up the last game of the year every year. I'm just saying, I think that the Lions somehow, with nothing to play for at all, had more of an impact than our team that had everything to play for in the exact same game. And that says everything you need to know about the coaching problems in Green Bay, is that we had nothing. We had everything to play for. They had nothing to play for. And their coach had more impact on that team and their willingness to run through the brick wall than our fucking nerd ass coach could ever muster. And Aaron Rodgers did not fill the fucking gap one iota. That's my
Yeah,
problem.
man.
We
I
need
guess.
someone to man the fuck up
Yeah.
on this team. And there is
Way
nobody
to go, buddy.
that is
Preaching.
important enough to actually rile the troops. It's fucked up, and we have to change it. And if we are not changing the fucking coach, we need to change the quarterback. Right now, we are missing the most important leadership aspect of this team. And I'm sorry, talk shit about McCarthy all you want. He had that shit. He could fucking rile the troops. He had confidence. He was a man. He was an adult in the room, and he was willing to fucking make sure that we were on point. As much as it was annoying to hear the same old shit, at least that shit made sense.
Right. I
I'm just
couldn't have
saying.
said it
I
better,
think-
boys. I mean, give it
Yeah.
up for the guy real quick. He just that was a big dick speech of the day. But
Thank you.
real quick, I know you got something coming, Ty, but Aaron, you have been remarkably silent on this. Remarkably.
Remarkable.
It all comes down.
Remarkably.
Remarkably.
It's a
Inquisitive.
remarkable situation, Aaron.
You have been pale and silent, and I want to know
When
why.
are you gonna start talking, Aaron? We're all waiting.
We're
What's the
sitting
hold
here.
up?
We've been
Fairly
holding our breath.
silent.
Yeah.
So everybody hit on pretty much all of my thoughts for the most part. I think when it comes down to play calling in this particular game, like one of the biggest game, everything on the line, this team seemed to come out playing incredibly tight. They weren't loose at all. Lions were for obvious reasons, but we touched on it early, guys. Like the fucking fourth, and whatever inside our own fucking
40, like from our 38.
in like the first
Dude.
quarter, when
32.
clearly
Dude.
points are coming slowly and like every moment matters. I'm just like, why? And Dave, I thought you hit on it perfectly. The quarterback always wants to fucking go for it. You're the coach and need to know when, how, have a good play design. And I'm not talking about one that's an end around to our slowest fucking goddamn receiver. What is the thought there? You're out thinking yourself. You're not playing
No, he's
chess.
thinking I'm a nerd.
Oh,
and I'm
let him
finally
go, let
hanging
him
out
go.
with the cool kid. Continue, Aaron.
No, it was just more of that. I've never been more disappointed in a play calling situation on offense when every possession mattered. Like, and this is I'm okay. So I'm not sure if everybody saw this. People might have missed it. In an interview post game, he actually talked about how he may be willing to give up play calling in the future. And on top of that, he said he was very open to Nathaniel Hackett, previous offensive coordinator, fired head coach of Denver, to coming back and being the offensive coordinator. This guy wants to recreate what was working 2 years ago, take away play calling from himself. Now, are these positives, Mr. Peterson? Are these a coach that seems confident in what he's doing? Or are we shriveling up and again, returning back to what we feel comfortable with and running it all back again in 2023? Because I know that's what you want to see, the same script.
Yeah, you want to go backwards. That sounds great. That's what football's all about. Dave, sorry, continue.
Wow, you guys are putting a lot of words in my mouth.
Wow, words.
I like Super Bowl champion years, and I like trophies, and I like having a good time watching my team win. So boneheaded coaching mistakes that are, again, I'm not a coach and I don't have the pressures and I don't understand all the things, but I definitely know that you should punt the ball in the first quarter with 8 minutes in the first quarter. You punt it away on your own 32. You do not go for that one. That is like, once that happens and then more bad things happen, it's like watching a snowball go down a hill and get bigger, in my opinion.
That's a little thing called momentum, and Aaron Rodgers believes in it, and Matt LaFleur does not. It's been documented in the local press.
Hey,
Gentlemen,
hey, let's talk about the local press real quick, because let's talk about Green Bay, Wisconsin, compared to a lot of other places. I know, Chaz.
I lost him.
I lost him.
I lost him. We're on the Green Bay Herald
We're gonna
right
give you
now.
the real
I
talk
was
about the
just getting
Gazette.
ready to go to
All the
defense,
shit
and
that
now
goes
we're
on at the Gazette
Hang on.
is coming to you.
Not
right
all
now.
wheels off.
It's about when you live in Green Bay and you play in Green Bay and you're involved with the Packers, it's the only thing going on in Green Bay.
That's not
What?
Thing
Yeah.
at all, in all Wisconsin. So you're going to hear all the whispers and you're going to hear all the oh yahs and all the things, right? You're going to hear it all because that's the way it goes. It's not like New York where there's all these things going on, or any other place in the country. It's Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's small. And if you want to gauge what that looks like, talk to Brett Hundley, who never scored one touchdown at Lambeau Field, and he played how many games? Like 6-7 games that whole season, because every time he sucked, all you hear is the whispers at Lambeau. And I'm so glad Buddy touched on, because Chaz said, what is the atmosphere like at the game? Because once the whispers set in and things don't go right, Lambeau is not awesome. I've been there. I've seen it. Once it turns over, it's quiet and it sucks. And I'm seeing a nod right now to Mayhew. Do you agree at all?
I completely agree, man. I can say as majestic, magical as like Lambeau is consistently, portrayed, the fan base when things go wrong, I agree. It's almost sickening. And like, you've ever been to a game where you've heard boos? I never partake in that shit. I think it's fucked up, man, to like boo your team. You can be frustrated, but I don't think that's a proper way to play it out. And,
Well, I've only ever been to winning games, so no.
Well, wait till you go to a loser.
Chaz, we got to get you some season tickets.
I'm just
Gentlemen.
saying, you guys, it's tough when the whispers set in a small town.
So don't you think now is the perfect time to put a quarterback that's been sitting on the bench for 3 years, following up an 8-9 season where did we win 8 games? Was it 7 games? I don't even remember. Either way,
Won as
wouldn't
many
this
games
be
as we
wouldn't
lost.
this be a best case scenario for Jordan Love to come in? Because dude at least plays on time. He at least does a 3-step drop that looks like a 3-step drop, a 5-step drop that looks like a 5-step drop. All of the plays that are designed, he lets the ball go at that moment. He's not playing jazz, goddammit. He's not out there playing squeaky ass like Aaron Rodgers is, okay? He's got his old fucking timey, record player, and he likes his old shit, and he's like, no, you got to get down with my old shit, and let me show you how it's done. That is not what this game is built on. It is built on young, ignorant, foolish fearlessness, okay? Before you realize you're a billionaire and you have something to live for, you go out there and you play your ass off before you get that contract. That's
Play
what
some
this game is
football.
built on, okay?
Play some football.
Yeah, dude, Jordan Love is ready to do that for this team. I'm not saying he's not going to get 2 picks a game. I'm pretty sure he might.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
I'm still down to watch somebody who plays football. I'd watch Tyler Heineke play football for the Green Bay
Yeah.
Packers and just play on time. Mayhew, what you got, baby?
I just want to say the other side of the coin. I agree with you 100%, but Dave, I feel like it's also it's the coach. You know what I mean? Let's just say, and I know this isn't fair, but if like Andy Reid was the Packers head coach, where offensively this guy's a fucking mastermind, like you think Patrick Mahomes is like questioning the plays coming in? He's like, no,
Right.
boss, I'm gonna stick to it. But fucking Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers, like Matt's like, I don't know, Aaron, what do you think? You feel good about that? I don't know. You got options. Whatever you want to do.
Because he
It's fine.
beats
Yeah.
him off
No.
field, dude.
No,
It's
here's
not a healthy
here's
This is
the
the
relationship.
test.
call,
Here's
but
the test.
essentially it's your call, Aaron. I mean, we all know you're the man. Go ahead,
Here's-
make the call. We love you.
Here's the test with coaches. If you're gonna fire your coach, you have to ask yourself, it's a 50-50 chance you're gonna end up with an above average or a below average coach. So you have to look at your coach and say, all right, if I fire Jason Garrett, am I gonna end up with a coach that is potentially above average, better than this guy? And I don't think we're there with LaFleur. I don't. I think this nerd needs a cowboy to balance him out. I think he needs a wild ass quarterback who is fearless and just kind of like ready to play some football, because LaFleur right now, what he's doing is he's overthinking it and he's being like, nerd, nerd, nerd. And then Aaron Rodgers walks in and is like, nerd. And then they're like, let's nerd some football. And what LaFleur needs, the guy who walks in is like, slaps a playbook out of his hand and is like, I don't read shit. That's the guy that LaFleur needs playing quarterback. Like, and so like my whole apprehension with Rodgers and LaFleur is that they're just too similar. God damn it, Gutekunst, get LaFleur a cowboy, a real ass like fucking Wyoming riding through snow motherfucker who's just like, I throw hard, I throw when I want, and I'm gonna go for it. That's what
Yeah,
LaFleur
look at that. Buddy,
you need-
Buddy's
right.
hat. Buddy, make
You
some
need-
sounds.
Yes.
You can see your hat. They gotta
Up
make
the
some sound
gunsling.
for us to see it.
Yeah, see, this is what we need right here. This
Bert.
guy.
God damn
That's
it,
what
guys.
we need.
Have some respect for your fucking history. Have some respect
Right.
for Brett Favre and the balls that this fucking franchise is glorious built on, okay? I'm not saying I'm a complete Brett Favre to the end guy, but Jesus
you are.
Christ, dude, he built what we're
Yes.
fucking enjoying right now. That guts, that fucking willingness
Fun.
to go through the brick wall, that
Fun.
ignorance, that is what football is, God damn it. And I have been hard pressed to find a quarterback that is willing to give a fuck about the game and loving it more than their body, than the way Brett Favre played this football game when I watched him. And I would be really excited if we could get a rah quarterback, because I'm fucking sick and tired of these cerebral motherfuckers. I want somebody who's going to go out there and try their ass off and fire me up. If we're going to lose, let's at least have fun. And let's win too. Where I'm at.
You know, I'm going to close out this section by saying this. There was something that Tyson said years ago that we've been using as a saying for years that we really haven't brought up many times this year, and really many times on this podcast, except for, in the background. And that is huck it, chuck it football. And that came from a joke we had about there's a drunk guy always at the bar, at the Marlin or the Blue Moon. It's always a bar named after either a beer or a fish in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, who's drunk going, well, that Brett Favre, man, he plays huck it, chuck it football. And I have always believed.
He'd be blacked out drunk. He'd punch a guy right in the face, and then he'd go out
But
there
that-
and he'd throw a
that
fish right through
mentality
the wall.
is something that this team is missing. And I think that we can all agree that we need to get a quarterback that comes in here that plays just a little bit of huck it, chuck it football. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey everyone, stay tuned for part 2 of our closing episode, coming up shortly.
Not exactly qualified, but answers the call. Two dads in a chain, talking Green Bay Packers football.
We gonna break it all down, probably leave out some facts. We gonna make some statements that we'll likely regret. Mostly gossip and rumors made straight off the top. So crank up the air condition, cause it's bound to get hot.
Two dads in a chance, we live it and we live it right. Two dads in a chance, we gonna break down football for you tonight. Besides them rings and putting trophies on the wall.
Lombardi trophies, y'all.
Two dads in a chance is talking Green Bay Packers football. Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.